go, Louise. Thank you, Serena. Good job. This month we are sharing with you the declarations of principle, which in religious science and the Centers for Spiritual Living is the declaration of inner well-being. Now, principle is defined in the Science of Mind handbook as being that essence that is true to each one of us. It is the result of our potentiality, the potentiality of being the goodness that is ours, the thing that creates results, the thing that gets us to where we truly want to be. And it appears in our life on a regular basis. We know that it is always working, and it is always appearing in our life. And so it comes to us through the power of our thought, through changing our thought about what is taking place in our life. And so today, the third principle that I will be sharing with you is, we believe that the kingdom of heaven is within us, and we experience that kingdom to the degree we become conscious of it, to the degree we become aware of it. Now, heaven is not somewhere we go when we leave this experience. It's no destination. Heaven is right here where we are on a moment-to-moment basis. And it is heaven to us is all that we are aware of being, of what comes to us, of what we see, of what we appreciate, of what is taking place in our life. And it is within us all the time. And it's important that we become conscious of it. It being that essence, that goodness, the truth about who we are and what is going on. It is unlimited, unconditional, and it is right at the very center of us. And isn't that good to know that it isn't, the locality isn't streets of gold or pearly gates? That when we are in the essence and the goodness of heaven sent, we begin to recognize how good life truly is. And it is within us in our deepest thought, in our convictions, in all that we do, in all that where we go, everything we take with us. It is the recognition of our oneness with the divine, that divine spirit that is always with us, the perfect design of who we are. Isn't that good, the perfect design? Because what we know in design, in architecture, that there's always a blueprint. And we are that incredible blueprint. We share ourselves in everything we do. Wherever we go, whatever the essence, what our job, in our relationships, in our family, with our neighbors, we are everything, and it is real to each one of us to be all that we are capable of being. It is consciousness. In this philosophy, you hear consciousness a lot. Now, what is consciousness? It's mental awareness. It's the ability to begin to know, to begin to create, to begin to experience life in all its glory, in its wonderfulness, in its extreme being. Life is truly good to us, and it certainly is good for us because we continually become the life that God intends us to be. It's been said there is a power for good greater than we are, and we can use it. And in that using on a continuous basis, we create our heaven. We create those things that are so important to us. Our family, our friends, those that we meet, the knowingness, this wonderful philosophy that allows us to be who we are, to allow us to be the goodness, the individual part of life, to express ourselves, to have the freedom, and to know our ability. And we know that our life expands with all the new ideas that come to us. Because it is done unto us as we believe. And as we come to beingness with our ideas, we begin to see what is taking place. And isn't this great? We begin to appreciate the goodness that creates around us due to the fact that we are living a principle. We are living something that really makes sense. We're all here because we choose to be here. And we're so grateful that we have this wonderful center here that is our place, our family, our home. And it feels so good. It's been said and written and defined that heaven is a state of bliss. John Campbell, many years ago in his book, said, follow your bliss. So what is bliss? Bliss is that ability to choose, to decide what it is that we truly want, what we truly want to experience, not someone else, because no one can do it for us. We are here to experience life to the fullest. And that's so much fun. And sometimes it isn't so much fun. And when that happens, when we are in our bliss and feeling good about everything and everything is going wonderful, that is heaven. It's heaven sent. It allows us to say, wow, this is great. I can really embody the goodness that is created through my thought. That is refreshing. There isn't anyone here thinking the same thought at the same time. Would you agree? And we all have that individual expression within us that allows us to be who we are and to share who we are. There have been many thoughts about heaven. I mean, in the movies, in songs, in different things that come to us. I remember watching a black and white movie a while ago with Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. And he sang to her, I'm in heaven when we dance cheek to cheek. Now, to him and to her, in that wonderful essence of rhythm and beauty and grandeur that they experienced and shown, was heaven. In the movie Heaven Can Wait, there were a lot of frantic people that didn't have time to sit down and contemplate on it, and so because they couldn't wait, they didn't have time for heaven, and they moved on into whatever they were doing. But quite close to us here in the North State, on South Shore and Lake Tahoe, there's a ski lift called Heavenly. And if you've ever been on it, it takes you up to the top of the mountain. And on that ride is the most beautiful heaven that you can ever see, because it is true bliss. It almost takes your breath away, because as you're going up the mountain in this chairlift, you are looking back over the valley of Tahoe, and it is truly, truly heaven sent. So there are a lot of meanings of heaven, and each one of us knows what that means to us. Spending time with a child, spending time with our family, spending time with people that we have a close association with, and how it allows us to feel that essence that brings to us the peace and the joy and wanting to have and be more in that experience. Now, we all know, and probably many of you sitting here are gardeners, because this is a time in paradise that everybody has a garden. And this is a perfect example of how consciousness operates. The seed, your idea, goes into the ground. And every day it is watered, it is nurtured, the sun warms it, and it continues to percolate in the ground until, within a period of time, and it knows what time that is, it begins to sprout. And through that sprouting becomes the vegetable or the flower or what it is that we have put in the ground. And because we have placed it in the ground, and we know that we have placed tomatoes or cucumbers or whatever, we don't go out and pick it, open up, pick it up, and make sure it's growing. We know that it is because that's God's nature in how it takes place within itself. It takes place because that is the law of consciousness with plants and vegetables. So when we talk about consciousness within ourselves, we know that it is a mental state of awareness. We know that through our thoughts creates our life. It creates what it is that we truly want to experience. And isn't that good? Because we're all experiencing something entirely different. And when it comes to us, it's at the right time, in the right way, and it fruitions into the thought, into the product, into the vegetable, into the tomato that we truly want it to be. And so as we open ourselves to what is available to us, it becomes such a great gift because we know that it is always operating. God is invisible, but we know through the power of this philosophy, through the power of our thought, through the power of what takes place, it is always operating. And we don't need to know how that works, but we do need to know that it does work. It's like when we go to the light switch and turn on the light. We know that it is going to bring us light. We don't know how it works. We don't know how all of it comes together, but we certainly are pleased when there is light. And so we open ourselves to that knowing, to that goodness, to that truth that is always, always available to us. And so we talk about life and how it shows up and how it produces for us. And what is life? Life is that expression, that our individual expression that allows us to be, to really be who we are. We are all here today because we have chosen to become and be. It's great to be in a room with like-minded people. It's nice to talk to people that are joyful and expressive and creative and loving and have so much energy and are interested in who you are, interested in what you have to say. And when we take all that into consideration, when we embody that, all that feeling, we really feel that it is heaven, that it is ours, that we feel good, that we feel nurtured, that we are loved, that we are important. That's really important. Because when we are on our path, when we are constantly creating good in our life, doesn't that feel great? It's like, wow, this is incredible. But what happens when there's a ripple on the pond? When there's something out there that isn't quite in tune with where we want to be? It begins to percolate in us as negativity that isn't creating our highest good. We know that by affirming the truth, discovering what it is that has caused the ripple on the pond, that has caused us to be uncomfortable, that has caused us to look at what is taking place, we recognize that it has shown up because of what we've been thinking. And it doesn't take long to take inventory back a few days as to what has really been taking place. And there it is. And so we begin at that point to affirm what it is, the opposite, what we want being the opposite of what is taking place. We take charge of who we are. We are the captain of our ship, and we get back on course. And that's the ability, and it feels so good because we are able to take charge. We are able to walk hand in hand with the Spirit of God within us that creates, through the power of our mind, exactly what is right and true for us. Anybody had that experience? When you start thinking and you begin, it's like planting your garden, you begin watering the idea, you begin nurturing it, you begin thinking about it, you begin knowing with energy and vitality that this is it. And what takes place is as you begin to do that on a regular basis, it begins to come forward. You begin to see what is taking place in your thought. And the whole picture, when it's all together, shows up. And people say, it's amazing. No, it's not amazing. It's God in action. It's what you put out there as your desire, your declaration of principle. I am here. I am good. I am valuable. I deserve all that God intends for me to have. It is God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. What is the kingdom? The kingdom is everything and anything that you can think of, accepting what you're thinking, and bring it about through your thinking. It's an inside job. No one can do it for you. And isn't, which sometimes it would really be nice if I could hand it off to the quarterback and say, run with it, I don't want it. But oftentimes it doesn't work that way. In fact, all the time it doesn't work that way, because when it comes back to me and it isn't what I chose, what I didn't put my picture out to be, what takes place? I've got to look at it, decide, do I want it? Do I keep it? Do I pass it off? What can I take from it? What's the good in it? Because there's always good in everything. That sounds kind of hard to believe, but I have found that when I experience something and have decided it isn't so great, work with it, move it forward, experience something better, looking back at it, I thought, there was the gem. There's what it was. There is where it started. And now I am beginning and can avail myself of the new goodness that comes to me. It's so exciting to be able to consciously create through the power of your mind an idea. You all are sitting here and have lots of ideas. The idea to come here was your first one and the best one you made today. But as those ideas come, and we're thinking constantly, they're coming through, they're bombarding. I mean, you get in on a project and it's this, and this. But pretty soon we begin to isolate it, so we're thinking about only one or two things, so that we can concentrate on what we truly desire, to bring into our life what it is that we have been thinking about creating in our life. And what shows up is always due to our thought. And that's a pretty broad statement, but it is very true. What we think creates our world. We are our own experience. Would you agree with that? Wherever we are right now, whatever you are doing, wherever you've been, wherever you are here because of all of that. And I bless it, because without that, I wouldn't be here, experiencing the goodness and the life that I'm experiencing now. And it took a while. But the greatest thing that took place is the first day I walked into a religious science church in 1957. Sat down, listened to the minister, and it was in Hollywood, California. It was lovely, and I came out of it, and someone said to me, "What'd you think? What'd you think?" I said, "I really liked it, but I didn't understand a word he said." And it took a few years for me to get back to it, through moving and getting into the right place. Moved into an area that had a religious science church there. Walked into it, and it was home. And it's that kind of feeling that brings on heaven. It's that kind of feeling that says, yes, I've arrived. I have arrived, and it is good and very good. And so for you today, I know that you, perhaps in your travels beforehand, have thought about heaven. And where is it? Is it something? Where do I go? How do I get there? You're here. It's all around you. It's within you, without you, and you're experiencing every day. And isn't it good? Because it allows us, it really allows us to get in touch with where we are. Okay, what is this? What's going on? How can I change it? What can I do? Many times you sit down and become still, and what happens? God shows up. Through meditation, through spiritual practice, through affirmation, through prayer, there is always the answer. And many times in this facility, in this center, the answer, if you're stuck, can come through meeting with a practitioner. Sitting down with someone who knows the truth about you, says you are valuable. You are worthwhile. You are special. In your program this morning was a blue sheet of paper, and it's a treatment. And that is written by the practitioner of the day, the lady who does the treatment on the platform. And this one was written by our lovely Eloise. And I quote from it because I really liked it. She said, "As I learn and grow, my evolution to a higher consciousness is the strongest desire in my existence." See, she's talking about heaven here. She's talking about this is the most important part of our capacity to feel, to be, to experience, to connect to the Spirit of God. Because when we begin to nurture ourselves, when we begin to recognize the seeds and ideas that we are planting, we begin to focus our desire. And that desire begins to take form. And that form creates the gifts that come so bountiful into our life. I know for each one of you here that life is good. Life is expressing through each one of you in your own individual way. And it's good because it's a revelation of what life is all about. And as we recognize that, we realize that heaven truly is right here, right now. And we can celebrate it, expect it, accept it, and know that it already is taking place. And heaven is that state of consciousness that is rewarding, unfolding. It allows us evolution, and we can stand up and be seen. I know that for you, and I know that for me. And together we say, and so it is. Okay. Is there anyone here